My name is Monica Gleberman, and you're listening to Silence on Set podcast. On today's podcast, we're talking to the cast of Twisted Metal. It's a half-hour live-action TV series based on the classic PlayStation game series. It's a high-octane action comedy based on an original take by Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick, and written by Michael Jonathan Smith about a motor-mouthed outsider offered a chance at a better life, but only if he can successfully deliver a mysterious package across a post-apocalyptic wasteland. So to start us off, here's Samoa Joe, aka Joe Seanoa. Hi, how are you?
Excellent. How about yourself?
Good. So talk to me about Twisted Metal and what we can kind of expect from the show, because there's a lot of action and a lot of chaos, and it starts right away.
And I think that's a pretty good primer to what you'd expect, is that we keep it action heavy, we keep it in your face, and it pretty much happens instantaneously. And for the most part, I mean, that describes Twisted Metal. It's a post-apocalyptic world. There are several different vying factions, all driving cars laden with thousands of machine guns and other crazy contraptions and weapons. And somehow, some way, our protagonist John Doe is trying to make his way across America to deliver a very special package.
And for this apocalyptic world, what I love is the cars are gorgeous, the music is fantastic, and the relationships between everybody that we're seeing. So how did this whole world get built?
I think that that definitely has to do with our writer MJ, who kind of mapped out the greater universe of Twisted Metal, and what kind of world would spawn car combat in the fashion that it does in our show. And I think that was the biggest thing, is just taking the mythology of Twisted Metal from the games and building it into a world. And I think MJ did a great job.
And I also like to, when you hear apocalyptic, I think we have a certain skew and view of what that looks like at this point with various shows. This show does not look like that. The show looks very fruitful and beautiful and pretty, even though there's, in the very beginning, there's buildings getting blown up and things happening, but it looks nicer just with less people.
I agree. I'd like to think that humanity would be a little bit better than what most people would think in an apocalypse, and I think that this kind of shows that. But for the most part, it's not I would say a post mortal disaster, post apocalyptic world. It's more of a world that's just kind of lost connection with one another and fallen apart. And on the crumbling remains of this great kingdom, you find our world.
And then what made you guys decide to, with Anthony Mackie, who plays John Doe, which, by the way, great name. Mm-hmm. When he's traveling, doing all the packages, and kind of we're meeting him, he's kind of talking. It's almost like a one-on-one. It's almost like he's talking to the camera or talking to you, like the viewer. Mm-hmm. So who made that decision? How do you guys decide to make that kind of decision for a show like this in particular?
I think, when you talk about John Doe, especially in particular, it's a character that, is somewhat tongue-in-cheek, introspective. He's our dashing rogue of a hero. And, I think those little inflection moments like that kind of best illustrate that. And as far as who made that choice, I mean, I really have no idea. That was well out of what I would have figured out.
Well, and I also want to ask you too, for everything looks so beautiful, and it's just such a great, like I said, show, and it's so fast and just crazy, but obviously things could go wrong. What was one of the craziest things, or maybe ideas that went right, that you guys came up with in terms of racing or the cars or the music, and you were like, oh no, I don't know if we're gonna be able to figure this out?
I mean, I will say that we had a lot of driving scenes and some very, at times, uncooperative cars where, we were wondering if, getting broken down in some of those desert chutes is not the best place to be broken down, nor the best place to service an engine. So a lot of it was just kind of keeping the cars in shape, and, we're really hard on them. We're obviously, pushing them to their max, and you got all kinds of pyrotechnic explosions flying off of them. So, if anything, I remember we did one particular shoot where I jumped a car through a billboard, And then as we landed, my car was still very much on fire, but it made for a great shot, even though I was like, I hope this thing doesn't burst into flames at some point.
Oh my God. I haven't gotten to that episode yet. Oh my gosh. But you did it yourself.
We had some our stunt team's amazing. Obviously, they were supporting me and with me at the whole time. But yeah, we did get in that car and we jumped it around a bit.
Gosh, that's crazy. Oh no, I have 40 seconds to wrap. So I want to ask you really quickly, what are you most excited about for fans to see? Because I really think that this show is very different than anything I've ever seen before.
I think the biggest thing I'm excited to see is I really want fans to get the opportunity to see the expanded Twisted Metal world and kind of see what we've built out and hopefully enjoy it.
Well, I want to thank you so much because I love it. I loved the show. I was like, I don't know if this would be for me. Totally for me. I was into it. I love the music. I love the drama. I loved all the gadgets added to the car and just the things and the humor. It's so good. And I just want to congratulate you because I know how much hard work it takes to do it, and you guys nailed it. And I just think it's been a fantastic show. So
well, thank
good.
you very much.
And I need more screeners. They need to give us more. We only got C3, but congratulations.
We're working on it. It's coming soon.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I was so excited to meet you, and congratulations
Pleasure.
on everything. Up next, we have Stephanie Beatriz. Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Monica?
Good. Oh my gosh, you're so beautiful all the time. Every time I interview you.
Oh my God, thank you.
Are you like de-aging? Like what is going on? Every time. Every time.
I don't know. Sometimes I look in the mirror and I'm like, what's happening? But it's just life. It's just life.
You're perfect. I'm going to jump right in. I love you so much, obviously, as you could tell. But I want to talk to you about the show. The show is so fun because there's so much going on that's very realistic and kind of feels a little scary that it's like very close to kind of what we're going through. And then there's other parts of the show that are super fun and so outrageous and crazy. So talk to me about Quiet and what we're going to see throughout the arc of the show. Because I only got to see 3 episodes, so I haven't really got to see more as to what's to come.
No, you got to see all of them.
No, and they normally send them all to us. Joe said that it's coming. So he said we'll be getting more.
Be coming because it's you gotta see. Oh my God. Well, Quiet is this like terrifying badass car thief, essentially. In this world, in the world of Twisted Metal, cars are very important, as anyone who's played the game can tell you. If you don't have a car, you don't have a chance. And so Quiet is trying to get a car, and the person whose car she tries to get is John Doe's, played by Anthony Mackie. And so Quiet's trying to sort of like find her place in this like post-apocalyptic world of chaos. And she and John Doe kind of need to team up, and they form this sort of like very unlikely antagonistic bond. And that was really fun to play because Anthony and we get along. But I think we really enjoy getting each other's goat, especially when it's on screen. And he's just like, he really is like one of the most talented actors I've ever met. He's incredibly driven, focused, efficient, and funny. He's very willing to let himself look stupid, which I really appreciate in actors.
Well, between the two of you, because there's so many scenes of you guys together, and that's the whole point, and I've played the game before. So was it fun, like kind of being able to have that freedom to make fun of each other and just be like dumb together? And was there something ridiculous that you pulled on him while you guys were filming? Or
I don't know that I pulled anything on him, although I loved annoying him. It's one of my favorite things in the world to do is to annoy Anthony Mackie because it's hard to do. He's pretty calm most of the time. But yeah, I think like we certainly bonded. I mean, those scenes in the car, we were shooting in New Orleans. It was a bajillion degrees outside. The car had no AC, so it was like the road trip of a lifetime.
The ideal road trip, no AC, but at least you have Anthony. At least you have Anthony, but
yeah, sounds good.
What are you most excited about? So for you play such a range of characters, and I've seen you in so many things, and you're good in everything. So I have 2 minutes left, so I'll do a 2-parter kind of thing. What are you most excited about for people to see in terms of Quiet? Because you have played badasses before, but she's very different. And I know you mentioned a little bit about her before, but what are you most excited about in terms of playing her and people seeing you play her? And what are you excited about overall for the show, for fans to see this? Because it's not your typical apocalyptic scenario. Trying not to give it
So
away.
you nailed it right there. I think I'm most excited that this is a new take on something that you think you might have already seen. It's fresh, it's funny. It is truly feels like a ride that you do not want to get off. And the other part that I'm really excited for audiences to see is how I think people underestimate comedy's ability to be good. People kind of go like, oh, it's a comedy. Like comedy's hard. Like comedy is hard. It's also hella fun. And what I'm most excited for audiences is for them to have fun. I mean, there's a lot of TV that's really heavy, but this is a really fun show. And like I like having fun when I watch TV. I don't know about you, but I like having a good time.
Yeah, it's nice to change it up every now and then, not watch just people killing each other. Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, like that's why we all watched a lot of Vanderpump, because we were like, "What is going on? This is crazy."
I was into the Scandal. I got you. Well, I'm so excited. I have to wrap, but let me tell you, I love you. And like I said, I think comedy is one of the hardest art forms, just to be honest, because you have to nail so many things to make it funny and to make people laugh. You guys did such a great job. It's such a good show. And the 3 episodes they gave us, I was like 1, 2, 3. Like, I mean, I just watched them right in a row. It's so good. So good. So congratulations. And I want to thank you for all your hard work, for all the projects that you do, because they're always amazing. So, and I appreciate all the effort that you put in.
Thank you. Thank
well,
you.
I just love you so much. And I know that you're working so hard. So I just want to thank you for it.
Thank you.
Well, have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much. And finally, we have Thomas Haden Church. Thomas, it is so great to see you again. I saw you for Acid Man, which is still one of my favorites that you did during the film festival run. So it's so nice to see you again.
Thank you.
So I'm just going to start off right away. We only got 3 screeners, so I don't know too much about Agent Stone. So how would you describe Agent Stone, and how does he get involved in this kind of apocalyptic, kind of crazy world?
I don't remember where it is in the order. Did you see the origin story episode?
We saw
where
yeah,
you meet
a little
Young.
bit.
You meet the Young Stone. I don't remember where it is in the tracking of the stories. I thought it was like the 3rd one.
I think it's the 3rd episode, and so I can hold till after that airs.
Yeah, when you meet, he's only in that one story. But that is, it really, obviously with John Doe, and I think even a little bit with Quiet, there's snippets of like what their backstory, I know with John Doe for sure, what their backstory is. But with Agent Stone, you meet him right at, when the Y2K, when society just completely implodes, the grid crashes, all, government, law and order, whatever, tech, communications, everything crashes. And he's a young police officer in Kansas, in Topeka. He's a young police officer, and he's just quickly thrust into a world of really just savagery. And how people take, justice into their own hands out of just trying to survive. And an event occurs, which, kind of sets him on this road. And then you meet him, give or take 2 decades later, and he has become very hardened, but is still pursuing the same path of what he would define as righteousness, the path of law and order, the path, the rule of law, everything that we not hilariously, but ironically, everything that's been attacked, since January 6, 21,
Right.
it's like, and there are, in fact, another journalist made a comment about parallels since the pandemic, with the world of Twisted Metal. But But I read the first few episodes, and I had a great talk with Michael Jonathan Smith, and I just immediately, I just had a center point of who this guy was, that he wasn't ever bitter, remorseful. He's almost like a shark. He's just like, he doesn't think he's doing wrong ever. He's just doing what he has to survive, and and to help society survive. And that's who he is.
Yeah, and I love that about him, and I do think that there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the show in particular. It's fun, there's explosions, there's cars, there's racing, there's things that are happening, but there's a lot to be concerned about today. Like, that could be our future, right? The AI, the tech, the things that are going on are kind of getting ripped out, especially right now in the current climate, even with the writers and various other things. So it's definitely an interesting story to tell that relates so much to what's going on now. I have only 2 minutes left, but I wanted to ask you, in terms of how close the subject matter is to real life and kind of what we're going through, did any of that enter your mind, or do you kind of try to block all of that when you're playing Agent Stone? And then also, what are you excited about for fans to see for this show? Because it's so different.
I mean, somebody brought up, one of the earlier journalists, is like, do you think this is a Mad Max, sort of world, for a new generation? And I don't really. I think that the story, Mad Max's story, was actually a lot smaller, in that it was just like this tribal warfare, and I mean, I say small, I'm referring to Road Warrior, because I'm not that familiar with the other movies. But this is, like, to me, it is global. It's a global story. But like I said, I mean, what Stone is pursuing, like with John Doe, with Quiet, they're just trying to survive. I am not that concerned about my survival, because I kind of think I'm invulnerable because of all the power that I wield as far as the pursuit of justice and punishment. But I think that's what's exciting about it, is that it is this kind of crazy, absurd, at times hilarious, just romp through this post-apocalyptic wasteland, and meeting just bizarre characters, and that hurl out of multiple people's imaginations, including the original game creators. But you can kind of imagine it once you get immersed in the world. You can sort of, I think the audience is completely relatable. They're like, oh, I can see how that clown would exist. I can understand why Agent Stone is as ruthless as he is. I think it's relatable.
Yeah, it's 100% relatable, and I think that's why so many fans are gonna really enjoy it. I'm out of time. I have to wrap, but I just want to tell you, you did such a fantastic job. It's so good.
Thank you,
and I
Monica.
do think there's so many elements of it that are relatable, that are scary because of things that are going on now that are relatable too. But it's fun, it's entertaining, so you get everything that you want out of it. And I just want to thank you, as always. You put so much hard work. I know how much work you put into your stuff. You put so much hard work into it, and you did such a great job. So I just want to congratulate you again on just another fantastic project. So congratulations on all your hard work, and thank you for doing it, because I love you so much.
Thanks, Monica. Very sweet.
Well, have a great rest of the day. Thank you so much.
You too.
Hope you guys enjoyed listening to the cast of Twisted Metal talk about their live action TV series. I should mention that Anthony Mackie, Will Arnett, and a slew of guest stars also appear in the show, so I would highly recommend checking it out. All 10 episodes premiere exclusively on Peacock on July 27th, so make sure you head over there and watch all of the episodes, binge them, or take your time. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you're updated on all of our latest podcasts, and head over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe so you're updated on all of our video content, and you'll be the first ones notified when video versions of all of our interviews come out.